Before, after. Before, after. Now we're taking a quick look at the bale grazing here, Carson Ranch.
Betcha.
And
So what do you want to know about bale grazing?
how do you do it? Does the guy need a tractor really to feed in the winter?
Well,
should he sell his tractor?
You need a tractor to put them in place, but we are not going back after this. I am sold on bale grazing. Bale grazing is good for so many reasons. Number one, evenly distributes your hay in the pasture.
Yeah, it's
So
already spread out.
It's already spread out. You're not feeding in one area. There's always lots for the cows to eat, so they're not all fighting over one piece. In the fall, it takes work, but in the wintertime, who's ever taken twine off and the ice chunks are hitting you in the face and it's frozen and cold?
Firing up a tractor every day.
My cows are getting exercise, so they're not fed in one spot in a little corral. They're in a pasture, so they always got to walk to water, so they're staying in shape. So for calving, they're not completely out of shape.
So when you set it up, you got to start grazing closest to the water.
That's right.
And then they just work their way out.
Yeah, they just keep working their way out.
And it's just one big pen. This is, you said these are hot wires here?
Yep.
And it's actually barbed wire you've used.
I found it works, yeah, because I have it plugged into a charger close to here, and there's enough juice that it's got a good snap on it still. So I don't even use the insulators, the plastic insulators. I'm just using staples.
Oh wow.
And then I'll either wind this up, or I'll just use this for strip grazing in the summer. So I always have I have decent feed. That's the key to it. If it's lousy feed, it's not so good. But I have good feed.
But that doesn't matter if you're using the tractor with lousy feed anyways.
Yeah. And so they're going to clean up what they have. And then kind of the first few days is just feasting. Because they all have this great feed. And as it starts to get lower, they just start nuzzling it and start eating it. And sure enough, and every single time they're done and they keep walking over this, by the time you saw we started, it's pounded into like a little mat. So they just chewed their whole way. If you can see between the hot wire and the elk fence, that whole alleyway they chewed. And then we started on this alleyway, we're working our way back here. And I've got about 55 bales left. And I like to, the rule of thumb is 10 cows per bale.
10 cows per bale?
10 cows per bale as far as feeding. So I've got 50 head here. I got
And
5 available. If I had 100, I just have an extra wire, so it's not that much extra work.
So things can even change mid-season if your demands change?
If I added cattle or when late pregnancy, when they're getting hungrier or whatever, I can just always give them more bales. Or if you're at home and you want to go on vacation,
right,
put out an extra hot wire. And, the key is training your cattle on this. If you've never trained your cattle before, you want to train your cattle. And the way of doing that is basically when it's summertime and there's pasture, just put a hot wire down the middle of the pasture and have something they want on the other side. That way they're in a closed perimeter and they can't get out, but they just learn to respect and walk around it, and soon they won't try to go through it all. So then you don't set up a beautiful system, they've never had it, and then they run right through it.
Because I've had that. I've set it up and I've watched them run right through, they don't even see it.
Because it's just all this is a psychological barrier. That's all it is.
Right.
It's not a physical barrier at all. The other thing you want to do is always have a back wire, because just in case this one goes down, always nice to have that one ready. All I use for this is step-in posts. And do you want to see the little toolkit I have here?
Sure. Got it handy.
So this is my toolkit. I've got hammer and a nail. So I was told to bring a cordless drill out, but to remember to keep it charged or whatever, this is just easier. So I just take this, kick the snow away, pound, 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 make a hole, shove my electric fence pole in there, and if it's wintertime, I actually take some snow and put it around, and that soft snow just kind of hardens and just gives that stability. Does that make sense?
So the reason you need this bike is because the ground's hard in winter.
That's right.
Or you can still pound post in winter. Or because they're only a few inches in, right?
Yeah, but if I was to just step on them, it wouldn't work because it's frost. So that's what this has to do. Pilot hole, like I said, some guys use a drill. But for me to remember, I just keep this out. This can stay outside. It's not a big deal, right?
Keep it simple,
Yeah,
stupid.
exactly. I just got an extra gate handle in case something breaks. I got my tester right here, so I can always see, because stuff happens, right? See if I got my charge. And last but not least, sometimes if it's really warm and they go in nice and easy and then you get a real cold snap, the posts don't want to come out, so I just got a little pipe wrench here. Just put it on here, and then pull it right out.
Okay. This is it. This is all you need.
That's my toolkit. And then I just keep it out here all the time, because it's just one less thing to remember. I just move it ahead.
So he's got 5 bales at a time spread out.
That's right.
And you figured that was based on your ratio?
Yeah, I've got 50 head, so, and if I had 100 head, I would,
Would you keep it 5 wide, or would you make it 10 wide? And then half as deep?
I would probably just, eat more or give them more at a time, just because that's that much less wire to be stretching out. You know what I mean? Because I've already got my alleyways here. It's not like a really long thing.
That
It's
makes
just skinnier.
sense. It's shorter.
Yeah.
So how long ago we seen the bales there earlier that they're digging into?
Mm-hmm.
There's one right in the middle, basically mostly gone, but there's still some
Yeah.
pretty open.
I
How
let
long ago did you let them in there?
Last night.
Just last night.
Last night, and this will last me about 3 days.
3 days on 5 bales.
Yeah.
First night's feast, second night they're into it. The third night you got to kind of pick up and clean up the last bit.
That's right. The warmer the weather, the more wastage there's going to be. Colder the weather, they're going to clean it right up. So
Then
this
they
is
got
really
mad.
recent. We can show you what kind of a finished paddock looks like. As you're going to see, it's really consistent. So that's the biggest thing with your pasture. You want consistent manure distribution. I don't even harrow it anymore. I used to harrow it. That used to just bring up clumps and the grass would die. If I leave it, the grass pushes through. It actually lifts the hay and provides a bit of a greenhouse. Yeah, and one thing we learned though is kind of in the first few months after the green grass comes in, you turn the cattle in, it's not so good. It needs a good rest to kind of establish it because the grasses are still just kind of forming. And then late summer we can turn them in no problem. And fall, if you can leave it, if you can let it rest all summer, it's amazing fall pasture, which you can actually save for the next spring for calving.
Right.
It's some phenomenal grass.
So don't expect to use it right when the sun
away.
comes out.
I wouldn't do that.
But once it gets a good rain pounding and
Absolutely.
some sunshine, it's really good
Yeah,
grass.
and as you can see, this is the whole way throughout. Kind of right about from here to here. I don't know if you notice, I maybe didn't make it clean up as much.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a few, you can see the rings
Exactly.
kind of.
Yep. But overall, just really good distribution.
And this was also the same thing, bale grazed.
Exactly.
So like before, after, before, after. You have another field you can see on the other side that was bale grazed a couple last year,
Yep.
and you
I
can't tell now.
You can't tell. I was worried the cows would punch it out too much, but as long as they can move around, it's not a big deal. And it was so good that I'd increased from my cutting. I actually doubled my hay production on that little piece over there.
Wow.
I'd usually get like
Because
8, 9 bales, and I got over 20 this year.
you're putting the water, the
Nutrients
nutrients,
back in there.
and the hay.
So not only did I get a hay cut off it this year, I let it regrow for my second cut, and that's going to be my calving pasture. And you can look at the grass stand. It's beautiful grass, and I have a few.
So just kind of where those windbreaks are,
Yep.
past where you can see the fresh manure. In there, that used to be bale grazed.
Yep.
And I mean, I would never be able to tell, but that's amazing. You said it almost doubled your hay production.
Doubled my hay production.
And even if they don't pick up every last bit, that's pretty normal, but you know, it's going back into your,
Yep.
you can hay it again.
Yep. And something else I've done, which helps depending on your grasses, is when this is all done, I'll probably take a quad seeder out here and just kind of get some new species going in here.
Oh. I appreciate you showing that. And
No problem.
the channel here, you'll probably see some of my cows getting rotationally grazed, or not rotationally grazed, bale grazed in the winter, and I think it makes perfect sense for a guy wanting to reduce costs and streamline the operation.
Absolutely. Add fertility to your soil, take away the wear and tear on your machine, give you some time back to do other stuff that matters,
Yeah.
and give you a good exercise for your cows. So it's just a win-win.